I'm here. What? Hey, Sardy Dev. Hello, how are you? For once, you arrive in time. Happy to have you. What are you saying? I'm here, no need to restart the stream. Well, we're just getting started. Excellent. What are you doing? Or are you chatting? I'm just trying to fix my clock because the battery was dead. And it was 4:10 or something like that since yesterday. Okay. And now that I'm in front of lights, I see that my glasses are not clean. How was your week, Sturdy Dev? Mine was very busy. I can see now. How is everybody? Happy to be here today.
Bonjour. Hi.
Bonjour. Hi, Stéphane. How are you? How are you? Okay, I need to swap this. Is the music too loud? I'm guessing you cannot hear the music, as usual. Time flies. It goes so fast. Yeah, it was very fast this week. There's one thing I need. So we should start the stream. Oops, not this. Let's bring that here. I didn't see the time because, like I was just saying, my clock was dead, so I'm not fully prepared. Tiny little things that needs to be done. Yeah, so I want to go here. Oh yeah, I want to start the stream. So start, and then I think we'll go in learning. We are continuing to learn, not learn, but play around with Copilot, Codespace, DevContainer. There was a repo last week that we work on. Oh, I should keep that for later, right? Wow, everything is too big. So you know what I'm doing right now? Let me share quickly my screen. Where is it? I think this is. What? That's not fun. See, this is my screen. The usual tech issues. Let me try again. Let me try to turn it off and turn it on again. Wonderful, it's not working. Okay, if I do this, no. Properties, activate. There it is! Whew! We got it. I'm all sweaty. Oh my god! Okay, I need to click somewhere else because the lines are distracting. Cool. Anyone want to try the drop games just to validate if it's working? Maybe there's one thing that works here. Okay, now I have my mouse back. Okay, so I wanna. Last time, excellent, Stefan, thank you. Last time, I was trying to put notes and things in the show notes, and CB didn't do a great job at it. Well, in fact, CB. Let's try this. CB Yeah, it's not you, it's me. Like I probably not used a good command, so
Hi.
I wanna make sure I'm using the good command. Bonjour, Mr. Fragbird. How are you? Very happy to have you on board today. The family is here. Awesome. Yeah, so what was the time? So it's note, singular. So yeah, you're adding one note. Frank, that was your logic behind that command. You're adding one note to the notes. I think last time I did a bunch of exclamation point notes, and yeah. What are we working on today? So now that everything is set up, let's run the intro, and we'll get back to you with all of that. I think we have a cool program today. I think we'll have fun. Let's run the intro. Hey, welcome, bonjour, hi, welcome behind my cloud. I'm Frank Boucher, and today we have fun today because I'm presenting Monday a talk. It will be in French, so like if you understand French, I will share later the link if you're interested. Otherwise, stay tuned because I'm working on not working on it, but I just want to make sure how far I follow the plan for that repo, or if I go off-road and do my own stuff. So the talk is about how to get started with Copilot, Codespace, and I want to include DevContainer. So we'll be working in .NET, messing around with I think it's a Blazor, but I'm not sure if it's a static web app or if it's a static website or if it's a service app. Doesn't matter. So we'll mess around with all those. So that's the plan of today. We'll be working with Codespace, Copilot, DevContainer. Last Friday, in fact, we start playing around. Not everything was working. I didn't have a lot of time. I was a very, very busy week at work, and at the end of each day, I was just kind of half zombie and half puppy dogs that wanted to play, and after that I was dead. So I didn't code much, but I did found some tweak. I also reached out to one of the maintainer of the project to say, hey, like when I do this it doesn't work, so can you have a look? Maybe like another pair of eyes will be better, because yeah, it was supposed to be working, right? So it's a learning stream today. Like I'm mostly I know those texts, so but I want to see how I can use this GitHub repo to kind of not build a lesson, but kind of teach stuff and make it interesting. So today we're messing around with that. So if you have any question about all those texts or anything, that I can help. If you ask me the next winning lotto number, I don't know. But yeah, if it's about Azure or like different things you think I may be able to help, feel free to ask. It's a safe place. You can always play that little game that InstaFluff created. You just type drop and you hope you land on that target to make point. CB, our cloudbot, is watching, keeping the score, and it looks like I'll be landing today. Yay! Cool. Yay! Cool. Happy to have you on board, even for lurking, Fragbird. So let me share my screen. Does it sound interesting? Did I answer your question, Kim Sumali? There it is. Surly is sending all his robot army. I need to be careful. It sounds like something else when I say that word, I know. Grooversaurus, also land 43. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I need to remember though, attention, there are buts. Digital fan. Yeah, no, but I know because of my accent or the way I say the word, it sounds like B-U-T-T, and that's not what I'm saying. So most of the time when I do presentation about CloudBot, I say robot. I do that joke at the beginning, everybody's laughing at me and my accent, and then I say robot for the rest of the presentation. But I should feel like a safe place here, right? Okay. Yeah, so let's go here in my repo because I forgot what it is. The name again. Where was? Did I delete it? Yeah, talk about. Exactly. Maybe I need to be careful today because I told my manager I was streaming and you know, I'm guessing he won't show up, but just in case. Just in case. I should be careful, right? Oh my god. So if you're new here, we are streaming on a Linux machine. It's Ubuntu 22.04. Like that. I also have Windows machine. I work at Microsoft, but this is my stream. It's not Microsoft stream. And I like to use Linux because I like it, but also to kind of walk the talk, validate that our tools are really working on Linux, just not like on Windows or WSL, even if WSL is really kind of a Linux inside Windows. I like to play completely outside and feel so this way I can report feedback. Who just land? Stefan land. Excellent, excellent. So, oh, and you're leading 83. That's great. Okay. There. That's the voila. That's the project we want to work on today. So I should put that in the note. You know, notes by doing the note and then say, hey, GitHub project. So, and then pasting this. That will go in the notes. And when I'm referring to the show notes, what I mean is if you go to Behind My Cloud, this is like the where all the show notes are. Is it me or like I feel like it's huge? Oh yeah, it's because I was working connected and like when I'm using really that screen as its full potential, I need to zoom a little bit for my old eyes. So yeah, so all the show notes are here. For example, here was last stream. Like you see the to-dos. Like sometime I do time logs. We were rated. It's true. Last time we were rated by White Panthers, and like you see the game result. Freda the Cats was leading last time. And the notes, I think I had those manually, or maybe it did work. I'm not sure. And I mentioned I want to share with you the blog post that announced my stuff. So let's go tech. I forgot the oh, cool. It's supposed to, oh man, it's big. Supposed to be published today. They told me that. But I have no idea where. Oh, there it is. That's a me, Frankie. It's not Mario. So yeah, so débuter avec VS Code, Codespace, and Copilot. Like I will have so much trouble speaking all in French. I will mix both languages. But yeah, so like what we are working on today, this is for this thing. We'll be working on that. So like, hey, you know what? If you understand French, feel free to join. I will be very happy to have you there. Let's do a blog post. And we'll put this. Voila. Oh, and thank you for the follow, Bordoncleux. I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Bordoncleux. I don't know how to pronounce it. Like, is it? But yeah, cool. Okay, so I don't remember if we. So yeah, so last time what we did, we played with that. Did you just land again, Stéphane? First one, so Bordoncleux, cool. Welcome aboard, happy to have you with us in the cloud. So last time, what we did is so this is the repo, and this is a demo that was done. It's to show all of that, but they kind of really go fast at deploying in Azure. And what's happening? Oh yeah, the delay. I'm not used to that. Like I see the little bubble, and like a minute after, I hear the oh yeah. So yeah, so we did deploy. We did open the code space for that. We did try to run it locally using DevContainer. Let me know, like, are you using Codespace? Are you using DevContainer? Are you using Copilot in VS Code? In the chat, let me know. I know you're just lurking, but you know what? Maybe you should try, my friend Fragbird, because looks like the game is very easy today. I'm just saying. Of course, it will get back to super hard when you try, but you know, if you don't try, you won't know. 97 grew. Okay, my little drop at the beginning with 13 is like, yep. Oh my god. And you could put icons after if you want, so let's do this one for me. Okay, so yeah, so the plan is to do that, but I think, so click the template, use the template. So we'll use the template, and I think I delete everything. So we'll start again. Don't bait me, will never let me. I don't know why. Like, oh no, I thought I landed. I didn't land. I only land 13. It was like border. I think it was a bug, a glitch in the matrix. That's the worst. That's the worst. Oh, very sorry to hear that. Okay, so let's go full screen. I think it's that one. Yeah. So we'll do as they say. So use this template. We'll open that in another tab. So select the owner, and that will be me. I thought I did create that. Like, let me check again. No, not. I don't want to see my profile. I want to see my repository. My notes, reading mainstream project. Yeah, Portfolio Frank was the one I used. Okay, so I did that. So here it says use this template. You click and it's kind of fork, but it's not a fork. It's like we kind of copy paste in a different repo instead of a fork. So then say okay, select the owner and take a unique name for your repository. I called that portfolio for Frank, because it's a portfolio website. And click the code button. Click create Codespace on the main button and customize your portfolio, deploy your site. Learn more about Codespace with this video tutorial series. Fragbird on the target. Oh, let's have a look. Whoops. Okay, so yeah, so the plan is here's Fragbird. Oh, oh no, like I think Fragbird wouldn't like. So click. Do you think? Okay, so yeah, so the Fragbird was going like this. It was about to land here, I think, right? Before you smash it. No, it's not. It's not fair play. But I think it's not fair play though. So click. Hey Frank. I should have like Clarkio, like a high five thing. Okay, so did I one thing I'm not sure is, I hope I did, because otherwise I will have. Did I kill it? No, I didn't do it. Oh no. 4 days ago. I think there's an auto turn off feature. That's a thing I should check, I think. So, Codespace, because nobody in the chat, why did you not answer me? So Codespace is kind of a VM. It's Visual Studio Code running in Azure, but you have the full power. So like if you are in let's open this page in another tab. So when you are on a repo, you can always do dot, right? And it will open Visual Studio Code. So that's great. You have Visual Studio Code, so you could edit. So that's perfect to editing like a few maybe codes of line, a quick fix. If you're doing a markdown file, I use that a lot. But then like you don't have everything. You don't have the console, the terminals. You don't have like all the powers of VS Code. Congrats, the original and undefined process. Compared to Codespace, Codespace is really like the full. It should be already installed. Yeah. So Codespace is really, in fact, you're running in a container in the cloud, in GitHub. And they call that the Codespace, right? So you're in the cloud, you're having your little container, and you're having that VS Code web version connected to it. I could also connect my VS Code to that environment. We'll do that because that's one thing I didn't show last week, and I think that could be cool, right? You want all the feature. I think that could be cool. Most of the time when I want to work locally though, I run like in a container locally, but maybe for some machine that would be a good scenario. I know it's possible using a remote, so we'll also do that. So yeah, so we did that. Right, so we did that. So right now we are, okay, let's close this one. Let's go here. So that's the full, and right now I'm in customize, I think. Yeah, customize. So let's say we want to customize this page. So we could go in SRC, Blazor app, blah, 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 blah. But before we do, let's run it. And to see how it looks, there's one command, and it's so here we should have, if it worked, we should have the static web app. So that's a CLI. So if I do this, it says that the Azure CLI is there. Oh, it's maybe a little bit small. Let me zoom. So static web app, it's a CLI. Pretty cool. You could do a bunch of operation with that. So what it's trying to do right now? It's building? Interesting. Interesting. Let's wait. This may take a while. Okay, I only use IntelliJ ATM at the moment for Spring Boot deployment. Interesting, and seeing the possibility of it all. Pardon, Claire, you're saying like you're just using the do you want to deploy the app now? No. Okay, cool. So that's clear. I mean, like you're just using the IntelliSense inside the web Visual Studio Code. So here I'm still in my Visual Studio Code instances, right? In my Codespace. Now, if I want to really kind of run that, so I could do this by the CLI command to do this is static web app, and then I just do start, and we'll explain how it works. It should be working. Cool. So it's building, and it will run on the local host here, 5000, or maybe that one. Let's open in a browser. Yeah. So cool, it's working. I am Alexandre Grenier, web designer and content creator, but I don't look as pretty as her. I wish, maybe not, but because I will be weird with my voice, I think. Okay, so that's great. It's running, and as we can see here, like it's not localhost, it's really running in Codespace, in the cloud. So now, can I change that without? Let's try if the, I don't think the, how do you call that? Hot swap, hot reload, or, yeah. Before we do that, let's stop this, Control C. And I just want to show you why just doing static web app start worked. I think that will be interesting, because I think later on we'll have to change a few things. So here in my folder beside, I can start by explaining also where is the definition of Codespace, but now that I started the static web app, let's go. So here I have that SAW CLI, guess what, config.json. So it is where all the magic is defined, because magic doesn't exist. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I know. So now I will show you the trick. Let's go a little bit bigger. No, IntelliJ IDE, sorry. But I use VS Code while on the go locally for JavaScript and Vala project. Okay, but Codespace are awesome for what I've seen. Oh yeah, it's very great. But you can have also that web Visual Studio Online, so that's pretty good. And it works even on an iPad, and you could do a bunch of stuff. I think Codespace also work there. So like if you're having a tablet, I didn't try. I don't have an iPad. I have I'm on Android, but yeah. Gameyor is here. Bonjour, hi, mister. How are you? How was your week? Any MVP in the room and behind the cloud here? Because this week was MVP Summit. MVP Summit is a very particular event at Microsoft where Microsoft share a lot of information. So MVP is for most valuable professional. So there are those heroes in the community that Microsoft award. So there was a it was a private event. Bring all the MVP, share a lot of information, get feedback on the project, the product, and things like that. So that was a big event this week. Another week experimenting with OpenAI. Oh, at least the second half of the week at work. Well, that's cool. That's cool. What project is it? GPT that you were working on another one? A project that interested me was the Whisper. Did you saw that one from OpenAI? The Whisper, pretty cool stuff too. My iPad is mostly a Netflix machine, and occasionally I use as a second display while traveling at work. Oh, cool. Mine is all. It's like a stream stuff. These days I decided to rewatch. Let's rewatch. Not fair. I decided to watch Criminal Mind. I think it's that Criminal Mind. Like there's 16 season or something like that. And I only catch a few episodes. And I think even back then I was watching TV in French. So I started season 1 and I'm kind of like watching every episode. It's pretty good. So like Netflix these days. And Prime, though Prime, it's been a while. Oh, and I have a few, I read magazines there too. I like that. I don't know if you try that, Fragbird, but I read a lot on Kindle. But for magazines or like where there's I like photography and things like that, so I have a few magazine. I like that because then you could zoom, you could move around things. Pretty cool, like that. Yeah, mostly work with GPT. Oh, nice, nice. Did you have access? I'm not sure. Like, is 4 accessible? I know some people have access, but I'm not sure if it's just internally yet, or like if it's open at some on request and they release. I think, or it's just 3.5. I think it's just 3.5 that is available for everybody, right? We noticed that training data wasn't good quality and accurate reproduce of. Oh, okay, interesting. I didn't play much with ChatGPT. I asked the online version, typing in the chat and then copy pasting whatever I needed. But now it's integrated in so many different services. That's pretty cool. I don't have Chat 3.5, 3. Okay, well it's pretty good still. I saw some demo when they released 4 or announced 4. It was very impressive, but I think 3.5. I think all of it's pretty good. I missed one message. What was it? Oh yeah, Freiberg. I have used an iPad with an external keyboard and work on VSCode Dev. Okay, for mobile. And was it good, the experience? I'm guessing it was good, right? Was it just like editor? Because you couldn't compile, right? If you're just using the VS Code dev. So I'm guessing it was just to edit code, not really to build and deploy or run tests and things like that. Yeah, you're cool. Yeah, that's cool. I have a few games also, but Okay, so I like that. We're chatting today. It's fun. That's why I'm streaming. I used to do, I still do, and I will do more and more and more YouTube video. But when you do a YouTube video, you're alone. Well, I'm alone today, but you're there with me, and honestly, that counts. I'm really happy to have you. That's great. I love that. And no, I need to stop. I'll become too sentimental. You don't want to see that. Game Your Land. Okay, so Fragbert, it's only you now, I think. And probably the real Sturdy Dev. Well, it was a VS Code server, so I could do all those things with remarkably a good experience provided as an external keyboard. VS Code server, so you have it running on like another machine somewhere else. I forgot what's the VS Code server is. Like I know VS Code server, when I'm running, for example, in WSL, it installed the server part and like I can run, like there's like the split, correct? Okay, so you have it, okay, that's great. That's, like VS Code is really good for all of that because it kind of like morph to whatever you need. I think VS Code is a great editor for that. Okay, so the magic of, I need at least to finish that page. 5 minutes, and after that we can continue to chat, everybody. So the static, or maybe you don't care about that, right? Maybe you don't care, but I need to see like if it lands correctly. So here is how the static web app, this is why we do just SWA, and I think I did a few times last week SAW, and that's why it was not working. You know, if you don't type the good command, guess what? It doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah, same for me. Like if you don't type the good command, just like with CB, you know. I'm learning to get more into GitHub action, so really I need to be able to do this push to remote repo. Oh yeah, yeah. I love that. Well, you know, we might play around with that. I love GitHub action, but I need to dig deeper and have like more like, okay, run my test, send a notification, like do like more kind of like complex scenario so I could use it in different situation. But yeah, okay, so the static web app, this is just like a config, so JSON file, very simple. But very simple when you know. I mean, like it's not big, it's not like huge and very complex. It's like one node configuration, and you have the template for .NET. That's the name of our thing, and you have the application. So now this is specifying where the app is. So this is our tree of our file, and you know what? Let's, Frank, you're in the way. Boom. So this is our tree here, behind, you know, under the cloud. So in SRC we have all the files. So we have the Blazor app, and in there we have all the files, plural, Frank, of Blazor. Blazor is a .NET web application, so that's where it goes. And the output is bin root. So right now I don't see it here, but when it builds, this is where it goes. Interesting. Oh yeah, see bin. Why I don't see it here? Maybe because it's in the git ignore? Interesting. Why I don't see that? Oh, can I see it if I do ls? No. Interesting. The app build command. So when we run this, it will try to build, and now we're specifying, hey, you know what, this is what you need to do. So .NET publish the release into, okay, so it's definitely not a watch. So, you know, like, because you could do like a .NET and specifying like that you want to do a .NET watch run, I think. But now this is really publishing in like the release version in the output bin. So here. And then to run, oh no, so it is publishing and then running this as a watch run, and the app URL is this. Okay. Interesting. So when we do when we do the start, oh yeah, so when we did the start, okay, so like this is all the command possible. Sorry for that. So this is all the command possible. So now we just did the start, so it's just running. If we were about to say, hey, CLI publish, it would like probably do the publish thing. Okay, that's great. So that's why I don't see the folder. That's why we didn't see that. And if I'm going back here we can see that it's okay using the configuration this, because we could have multiple configuration if we want. And let's say, okay, building, waiting for the host to be ready, and Blazor output. So yeah, so it didn't do this. It's just a start with, sorry. Frank, go. Output, start, host, yeah. Yeah. Cool. So we could do also the publish and things like that, but that's not the plan today. I will just clear this. So that's great. And now we could also, so to customize it, right? We could say Alexandrie, Grenier, like all this. This is in this page here. Oh, this is a little bit small. Let's make it bigger for you, my friends. So we need to go in simple data and site property. So let's go here. If I open this folder, and it was in the root, yes, simple data, and it was site property. Yeah, so let's change that quickly. Put Frank Boucher. Let's do that. If I do this, beams, I think I'm F Boucheros everywhere. Okay, so now I can save that. And now I'm wondering, so see here, we see that the source code, it's still just in our instance. We didn't push that to GitHub. It's still just in our container in the cloud. So one thing I'm curious to see now is if we do the remote container. So I will close my web page. I'll open VSCode. I will close the project I'm working on. Cool. So this is the real VSCode. Okay, I'm local on my machine. I will let the background kind of leaking a little bit just to make a difference. Could change the color too. Let's do that. Let's do. No, I'm guessing it will change when we open the file, right? Let's do it anyway. Wow. Come on. Why can't I? Okay. So I wanna. How can I? Who landed? So many people landed. I need to get higher in that. So I want to open. Oh, install additional remote. I didn't have that one, so let's do this. So you have the extension. So, okay, I'm skipping stuff here. So in Visual Studio, now like we don't see it very well. Let me just like do this like that. We have that little remote. So in the extension, you could install the dev container, and you have a bunch of different remotes here. Okay, and that will give you the opportunity to work in a dev container. We'll explain that, but Codespace is using dev container, but it's deployed into Codespace, and then you could do a remote SSH. Sorry, that was French. And like now, I think with now this, I will be able to connect my physical Codespace to, physical Visual Studio. How I will do that Monday, talking about all those things and not make any mistakes. Oh my God. Anyway, so I will be able to connect my physical, it's not physical, but like local VSCode. That's proper. That's proper English. To my Codespace. And like you have other also remote. So now let's go back here. If I click this, so now I have more options. That's what I was looking for. Whoops. So let's click here. No. Okay, so now we have new dev container. That's not what we want. Attached to a running container. We could do that. We'll do that later, but that's not what I want to do right now. It could be cloning a repository. Ah, come on. Cloning a repo in a container, I love that, because when you don't have the framework or the tools you need on your machine to do it, you could just clone the repo in a container. And if you have a dev container all configured, that's great. You don't need to install anything. I try to do that as much as I can. But now what I can see here is connect to Codespace or create a new Codespace or delete Codespace. And the last one is install additional remote extension, but I think I have all of them right now. So, but what I want to do now is connect to Codespace. Okay, so we'll click here. Yeah, sure, sign in with GitHub. So I will show you that. So it just pop up because it needs some authentication. So I will just click continue. I don't want for now give him access to any other organization. So now I say, hey, this, is it okay? Say, yep, authorize. Send a verification return and get my, okay. Let's do that. $42. So that's pretty cool. There's a mobile application, and now it's two-factor authentication. That's cool. My wife is happy about some news, so yay. Okay, open. Okay, so cool. So remember we had only one Codespace. I only had one Codespace created, and it was called Portfolio for Frank. Used 26 minutes ago. So we've been chatting a while, Cloudies. And it was cuddly loop main whatever. That was the resource assigned to it. So let's click on that. So now it's connecting. Great. Oh, like difference is like real Visual Studio. I have the thing on the right instead of the left. Ha! We have a difference. Cool. So now I have that. One thing I want to validate. Oh, that's cool. Right away, I think it's even better than I thought. Can you see here? I have one change. So I think the file, like we edited the file in Codespace, and now I'm connected. I was connecting, now I'm connected to that container in Codespace, and the change we did is present. So if we expand this and we go in www.root and then simple data, and yeah, look at that, there's a change here. So we can see that I'm not Alexandre anymore, I'm Frank, but I didn't even commit those things. So that's pretty cool. I think I like, why are you always asking me? And the thing is, when you're when you're working with your local VS Code and a dev container or Codespace connected remotely, because you are in a real VS Code, just like when you're in Codespace, you have access to all the extension. But now, because you are in a container, you could have different extension installed locally or in your container. So you can see here that it says like, hey, this is disabled. I can disable it in the workspace, or here I can install it locally. Fragbird Len, can you clip that? Oh my god, why CB didn't do anything? Did CB did something? I'm guessing yes. That's pretty good. Yay! We need to, make a big X on the wall. Well, for you it's Visual Studio, but for me it's the wall. Like, in the cloud, let's do a big X. There it is. That's pretty good. Finally, after how many years, Fragbird, you made it. I'm very happy. The guy is so used to lose, just like, yeah, fuck off. Damn it. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So I like that. Like, we're really connecting to the open running container. So the file that we didn't commit yet is exactly there. And now if I open my terminal here and just type static web app start, it should run, and we should see that I'm not Alexandre anymore. Oh yeah, I remember when you did that. That's pretty cool. It's no, it didn't work. Yeah, because it doesn't happen that often, right? Oh my god. Boom! Frank Boucher, cloud. I should have put like clown or something like that. Well, yeah, okay, so it's working, and I forgot where. Oh yeah, here the contact. So like they are all my contact. So now you can fake me. And yeah, so, and we're running from localhost. So we're still running local, but then it's a container that is in Codespace. Yes, it's possible. So that's pretty cool. So it works. Okay, that's great. So that's great. Whoop. I didn't want to do that. Oh, damn it. History. I want this, and I think I want that. No. If I change just this for .com, do I come back to the cool? So that's what I want. And I would like to have, right? Oh, there it was. What's the other page? Oh, okay, this one, you can live. That one, I want it. Okay. So we did that. So now, cool, we could update the image, but we'll leave it there. I think just the data is good. Oh, cool, thanks for the clip. I'm always trying to go in my next screen, but I'm only using this screen for like this, my laptop. Is the productivity of the stream also measured in frustration by minutes? What do you mean? What do you mean, Game Lord? By trying to trying to land? Okay, I see it here. Boom. Can you see here? I have one change. So I think that's Fragbird here.
The file, like we edited the file in Codespace, and now I'm connected.
I was connecting, now I'm connected to that container 62. In Codespace. And the change
good score
on top of it. That's
present.
pretty good. So
Thank you
for the
and we
clip.
go in double.
That's cool. That's cool, and real Shirley bot will land too. Okay. Open the image prefer one. Okay, no, that's fine if you want to add about me. Nah. Oh, we could do that. Okay. Yeah, so I think I will play this part when I show Copilot. Okay. So that's for all the customization, but now I want to deploy it, right? So project include the setup needed for deploy Azure static web app. Okay, so it is a static web app. Good to know. Okay, great. So we're doing it from the portal. That's great. Okay. So what do we do? Let me connect into my browser. Azure portal. Portal. Azure.com. And do I have? Let's toggle it on. Let's go to this. Cool. I'll bring that page here. Voila. So I opened my portal. Wow. Who was the crazy one? Just like bouncing everywhere. So I went to portal.azure.com. This is the Microsoft Cloud, and if you never tried, you can create a new one for free, and you just need a credit card. You could log in with GitHub account or Microsoft account. That's enough for selling stuff. So we want to create a static web app. So I think if we just start typing static web app, voila. And we can pick this one here. We can have different plan, but for now this is pretty cool. The beauty of it is there's a free tier, so like you could have your static web app for free. Excellent. So we'll create that here. We'll create like behind my cloud. Excellent. So resource group is just a group where you put all your resource. Think about like a shopping bag or something like that. Pretty cool. You put all your stuff, and it's easier when you want to delete all that. You take the bag and just like throw it away. Or if you want to apply security, you could apply the security on the group, and all the resource inside the group will also have the same security, things like that. So that's pretty cool, having a resource group. So always good. And this way, I usually say to people, like, whatever you deploy as a unit, you should put it in the same resource group. So now the name of our thing, let's give it the same name as our project. I think it was portfolio for Frank. So let's do that. Portfolio for Frank. Little check needs to be a unique name. So I will be using the free tier. Central US, yeah, okay, let's go East US 2. So now there's many ways you can deploy that from GitHub, from Azure DevOps or other, depending on where your code is. That's pretty cool. So now we'll use GitHub because our code is in GitHub. And the beauty of it is doing through the portal, it will generate for us a CI/CD from GitHub. So using GitHub Action, the thing that Fragberg was talking earlier, I'm just saying his name. So it kind of like, you know, what? Did he talk about me again? Did I land? So I could have multiple account. FBoucher, that's perfect. That's what I want to do. Organization, so again, it will be FBoucher. Repository. I need to go in the portfolio. No? Oh, portfolio. How did I spell it here? Yeah. Yeah. And then the branch is main. You could have different branch if you want. The build details. Now you could deploy a static web app with like any kind of things you want. Like, so this is all the kind of automatically populate framework. So we have Angular, Blazor, Next.js, Next2, Next3. I don't even know those. Like, no, it's not that hard because like I'm not the JavaScript developer. But I know React, Svelte. I know Vue. I know Svelte. Is it Svelte that John Papa likes so much? I think it's Svelte. I forgot what John Papa liked a lot. Yeah, Vue.js. I think Jen really liked that one. HTML, SvelteKit, static generator, so you could use GapCUgo, VuePress. So like there's tons, and you could build your own if you want to like have this. I think I used a custom one, and I use how it's called. It was called before what year, and now it's called, I forgot what it's called again. It's a .NET static generate web page generator. Oh, what it's called again? I like it because it's in .NET. So I'm using it for my blog, Cloud en Français. And so that's the kind of pages building, and I'm using static dev, yeah. So I'm using static, so it's a generator stuff, but it's all written in .NET. You just add this NuGet package, and you can generate your website. So I use also this, in fact, here in Cloud en Français. That's my blog, and it's all done by this. Okay. So here now what we want is Blazor. So we'll go here. So application clients, API and web root. I think we don't need this because we don't have any Azure functions. So a static web app, right? It's HTML and JavaScript kind of static web app. But then if you need some kind of extra functionality, you could have an API. And the way it's packaged in Azure, it's like by default, it will, like not by default, but it will suggest you, so it's supported natively if you want to deploy an Azure function. Azure function is serverless, so it could be an API, right? And you could have that deploy at the same time and it will run in Azure. So that's pretty cool. So all embedded, so like they package a few services together, and that's pretty cool. You could also have your own API and connect to it. It doesn't need to be an Azure function, but it's kind of packaged already in there if you want. So I want to make sure I'm following. So let's go here, right? Oh, what? Oh, they're using the extension? Okay, let's try that. Hey, thank you Nika Coder for the follow. Welcome aboard, welcome behind my cloud. Now I need to remember, in about 30 seconds, I will hear, oh yeah, and it will be about you. Very happy to have you on board. Welcome, welcome. we're having fun today learning, not learning necessarily, but like having fun experimenting with Copilot, Codespace, DevContainers, .NET stuff. I want to use repo for a presentation I will be doing in French Monday. So like today I'm just trying to see like how far I can follow the repo and when should I go off track. But hey, feel free to ask any questions you want. It's a safe place. I'm the king of mistakes and typo, double hat that I wear. So I do tons of mistakes. So if you have any questions, see? Now I know it's about you. I'm not like panicking. So, oh, what's happening? No, I know. The delay. I don't know why there's a delay, but there's one. Okay. Yeah, okay, so let's try that because you know what? They did refresh the extension, so I'm curious to see what's the difference. So from the Real Visual Studio, let's go here in Azure. I didn't sign in. Maybe I should sign in. Just in time. And now it says, you are signed in, you can close this. Okay, cool. Let's go back to VS Code. Excellent. So I want to do a static web app. Was it like what they say? Do this in resource, click plus. Yeah, it changed now. So click the Azure icon and oh, maybe it's different from here. Can I still have this? Select a subscription. Interesting. Okay. Create a service web app. No. Create a no database function. No. Resource group static web app. That's what I want, right? Select a subscription. Okay. Refresh the token. Okay, let's not try to do that from here. Let's try to do it from the real one. So if I do this, I could go, let's close this. Create a static web app. Okay. Extension at Azure Static Web App wants to sign in. Sign in, my friend. Yeah. Commit all working changes. Oh yeah, it's true. Okay. Any more? Why? See, I told you I was the king of typo. And if Jason was there, he would tell you. So create a static web app. Let's do that. Let's call it Portfolio for Frank. Exactly what I was trying to do. Let's deploy here. What I'm doing is Blazor. So now, location of the code. I think it's src Blazor app, right? I think that's what they want to tell us, right? They say, yeah, location of the app. And it was this src Blazor app. Makes sense. This is where the code was. So let's put this here. So src laser app, excellent. So now it's asking like, hey, where is was? Like we didn't change that, so it's still www. That's the location, excellent. That's it. So now it will create the app in Azure. So now it's trying to successfully in creating the resources in Azure. Now it's trying to bind the GitHub repo to that thing to generate. So let's open GitHub action, and it created the file. And now it's trying to deploy. So we'll close that because we won't be using it. Unsafe, yeah, discard this. Let's go back at home. We'll look at the resource group. Oh yeah, but you didn't ask us the name of that resource group, right? Interesting. Okay. I prefer using like something else than that extension to deploy, but it's good that it exists because not everybody is Frank. Also, I think maybe I have many clones, though I'm not Singularity. I wish I was that good. This guy is a magician with all the effect. So now, like, it's building and it will be deploying the website, so we'll wait for that. Meanwhile, let's go back in VS Code. And right now, let's go back in the left corner so I'm not hiding anything. In fact, no, let's go back. So what I want to show you here is if I look, where is my mouse? Why can I show you that? Just here. Like there was difference? Oh, yeah. Frank. Terminal. Let's go here. Let's do clear. Oh yeah, we're still running? Okay, and if I do git status, on the main branch is ahead. Yeah, so on main, it's in advance, right? Why don't like? Can I see here? Sync two changes. I didn't install. What? I'm not running the. Oh, interesting. Why I'm not? What it's called again? Yeah, GitLens. Oh, okay, it's not installed in the container. No. Don't install it in the container. Okay, so it's still not up to date. So let's. Why it says that we have? Because we didn't push it. We should have pushed it. So CI/CD worked, and now like I just trigger because I changed stuff. So it did work. If we look at what happened, set up the job, it built a static web app and like build and deploy and clean everything. So everything was run here. If we refresh in the portal, what was the URL? What's the thing that you created? It's not in that subscription? Where did you deploy it? Oh, interesting. Can I refresh that page? Like, yeah, shoot. Shoot. Dockerfish. Yeah, ask about APIs. Ask questions. I will do my best to answer it. So that was deploy, build and deploy. So where was it deploy? I'm guessing it was deploy in a different subscription. And I hope, okay, so visit the site, delightful hill, so boom. So yeah, okay, so because we didn't push it, so that's, so see, like, because like we had code pending locally, we did commit it, but we didn't push it to GitHub. So that's why the first version of our website is still like Alexandria. By by pushing it to GitHub, I trigger again the CI/CD, and when that CI will be finished in the GitHub action, now if we look at the GitHub action, it's still trying to merge here and do the thing. So when that one will be finished, if it succeeds, we should have a new version of our website. Though I am very curious, where did I deploy the thing? So, question from Dockerfish. If I have a user in my website and my website use an API, is it the user info? What is it? The user info, IP, etc. that's sent to the API, or is communication done from my server? Is it using the static web app, or is it like any kind of API and any kind of app? If it's about the static web app, you need to do those kind of things. So the beauty of like the static web app when you're using an API is the API is not exposed to the external world. So you have your static web app, like in my case right now is the website, the static web app is exposed. In my case, it's Blazor, right? So that part is exposed. But then the API is beyond, it doesn't have access directly. So you couldn't ping directly the API. So it's only the website. So when you call it, it's really your app calling it. If you want to pass extra information, for example, if you want to pass some security and things like that, there's tools that you can pass that depending on like what is the framework you're using. You could pass some information, but by default, there's nothing pass about that information. It's just like a pure call. Okay, so here a function, not our function, sorry, there are CI/CD, the GitHub action finish. So now if I refresh the website, I should have Frank. Yeah, so we have that. That's cool. So I'm trying to learn more about user privacy and realize I don't know what information I pass to the API. So by default, you won't pass much Dockerfish. If you want to pass some information, you can always pass a token or an identity. In the Microsoft website, there's a demo of that. And there's also, if you're in Blazor, there's also Anthony Shu, who create a non-official NuGet package to manage security, and I used that in the past. What I want to do is Blazor. Wasam identity API. Where I was. It's a good question, and I think right now it's a little bit confusing because depending on if you do like a Blazor WebAssembly or a Blazor website, the answer will be different. So you could predict that, but then how do you pass it? Is it specifying that duck? You could do this, HTTP. Yeah. Cool. So have a look to this page, and I'll also try to find this, and I'm gonna say let's Anthony. So Anthony was before the product manager of static web app. Now he moved to container app, but he did wrote some stuff. Yeah, cool. Let's share that, and at the same time I will add it to the note. Voila. So have a look. I use that. It's not official yet, but it's the closest you will see. Internally, I know Microsoft is looking about like, hey, like how do we want to make that official? And it's probably just a question of like who will be in charge to maintain it. So it's there, like we're all using it. Sorry, I couldn't find quickly the mute button. Sorry about that. Now let's start again. Achoo! Okay, so you're saying I'm trying to learn about. Okay, so first host my website on Azure, but I chicken out because I didn't understand the feature pricing. Oh, yeah, it's very legit. So what did you deploy on? What did you deploy? So was it a website and a database, just a website? Was it the static web app? What was the what did you deploy? Let me know, and I will try to help you understanding the price. Price could be confusing because in the cloud you really pay for what you like. I have a T-shirt. I should show that. I'm happy about it. I have a though like you don't see it because there's green eyes. It's CB. I have a T-shirt about CB. Yeah, so because it's a pay for what you use, it's hard to say, yeah, deploying that will cost you $2 a month or something like that. So we try to put by hours or like things like that, but sometimes I know that when you're just getting started, it's kind of like, and the only way you will really know how much it will cost you, let's say by month, it's to let it run for a month. And then you will have an idea. And after that, you could fine tune depending on like, do you need to scale it a little bit? and go lower and things like that. So this is the way you adjust. And like if you play at scaling, the important part will be to what's happening? Thank you. Okay, so Darkfish, thank you for the follow, Darkfish. Like so many new followers today. Very happy. And congrats for the cryptographer that lands with a score of 47. A static web app. Oh, and a database. Postgres, Python. Okay, cool. Does the database was also hosted in Azure? Yes. Okay. So, did you use the calculator? Do you know the calculator? So, static web app by default is free. If you use the premium tier, there's some fee, but it's very minimal, and that's kind of static. It won't scale necessarily. So like it will be this Azure. There's a short link for that, but I always forget. I try, but I'm very new there. Yeah, that's fine. Like there are so many resources and possibilities, and like, it is really confusing. So not TCO. I think that's what I want to see. Let's experiment. We'll pause. Just before I go there, Joe, I just want to make sure where I was here. So we did deploy that. Oh yeah, I don't know where it was deployed. That's the thing I need to find. Oh yeah, so okay, I need to explain the GitHub action. Cool. Okay, so pricing calculator. So you did have web static web app. So static web app was added, and then a database. I didn't use Postgres SQL yet as a service. I'm looking forward to it. I think I have a project where I want to use that. Right now, my projects are so tiny that a database is overkill, so I'm using the storage as a database. It's very cheap, but at the same time, like it's limited in terms of like possibilities. So SQL. Azure Database Postgres, is it the only one we have here? I think that's the one we want. Yeah, I think that's what we want. So let's go view. So the price will also change depending on where, just checking, okay, cool. Earlier today, I changed the battery of my clock. So I want to make sure like I said it correctly. Okay, so depending on where you deploy, the resource price may change. I'm not saying double, but like a few cents, a few dollars. It's possible because of the cost of maintaining that data center. So let's say we're keeping east to west, okay? So right now we are looking at the Azure Database SQL. So right now, deployment, single server, flexible, hyperscale, depending on what you want, it will affect your total. So right now, having that is, the cost is in US dollar. We can continue in US dollar. I have no idea what's your country. For me, it's Canada. So like I would change it for Canada, but let's keep it US for now. So right now it's 138 to have that running all the time. So single server, the purpose, it could be just like basic, general, or memory optimized. Let's put basic. And then the compute size, what do we want? Like, let's say I want to just like a small website. We're experimenting, right? So could be doing this. And then one server, I'm guessing that's the amount of hour by month. So right now, the average by month is $25. You got to go. Happy weekend, Gamer. Go outside, have fun, and I will see you next week. So then storage, because you need some storage, but storage is extremely cheap. It's 10 cents by gig. So like, you know, 5 gig right now is 50 cents. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I was using Azure's table, is because it's mostly nothing, right? Redundancy, like if you keep it local, so like it means redundancy means you have multiple copy of your database, because in the cloud, it's not if you lose contact or if something happens, is when. So you need to have redundancy. It's always prepare how much money you're willing to put to lower that critical time where like your service is not up. So if you keep it local, that's good. I think because we select here like the basic and everything, that's why we have less options. Now the backup storage. So now we have it, and it will be 35 bucks a month. Can you up that for okay, 400? Yeah, it will be $4, I think, or 40 bucks, sorry, yeah. But then the backup, I'm guessing, should be, let's say 800. You want 2 backups? So now you're back at 140, but that's managed, right? So like it's a service. You won't have to maintain that. It goes up very fast. Yep, that's a service. Like if you want to run it differently, yes. I'm not like the best one to know all the details about Postgres. So like maybe there's other services. I know you could run CosmoDB and have the Postgres connector on top of that. So that could be interesting for you. And I know CosmoDB, there's like, if you want to test it, there's the free tier, but it's probably limited in terms of like space though. So yeah, it's always a thing, like depending on what you want to do. So yeah, and then so I scroll quickly. Cool. So my static web app. So see, I see this the tier free. So the free tier include 100 gig of bandwidth, 0.5 gig of storage, and it costs nothing. If you want to have the standard one, it's $9, and like you have like more gig and things like that, more functionalities. If you want to use identity and things like that, if you need some login, it will be managed and all those things. $9. I have multiple websites that run like that. Oh. Flexible server, I don't know. Maybe it was. Oh yeah, look at that. Like I said, I didn't experiment with that service yet. So this one, you have 2 type of instance. So you could go and check. If you go on the where is it? Usually you have a place to see all the tiers instance, what they mean and things like that, the family of tiers. So right now we have a B1 MS, so 1 core, 1 vCore. It's very, so 446. So now by month the database cost us, though we don't have any backups, but you know, well, that would be cheap. So let's put the same size. Let's assume you have just 1 backup, okay? $38. So now we have like 96. You could have include service if you want, and yeah, that's in US dollar. But usually, I'm sorry. And a cool thing is like you could save that in an Excel sheet if you want to work later. What I wanted to do was Pricing details. Yeah, that's what I want to see. So here we should see the pricing table, and we'll have like the single server, what it means, like the flexible server, what it means, the hyperscale. For me, like I said, I didn't play with that service, so I don't know everything. I know PostgreSQL. I did play a little bit. I was more a MySQL guy back then, but it was not my decision. It was my boss' decision back then. We're talking very long time ago. But yeah, so here the important part is read what it include and things like that, and you will have like then after that all the information about like, hey, what's the core, the memory that it's, and the price are listed here. So this is where you will really have the extension. So like it's really when you go on the page of that product service and you decide to go in the print the pricing table, and you have all the information. So for us, we were using a flexible server earlier in the example, right? And we'll just write in the info. You should have told me. Yeah, so flexible server is maximum control your database with a simplified developer experience, the best for workload that required. Customize maintenance window and additional configuration, database optimization, same zone or zone redundant, highly available, stop start capability. Oh, that's cool. And now you have this, so it tells you that the B1MS is 1 core and like the B2S is 2 core. You have like the double of memory, but also kind of like jump pretty high in terms of price, like pretty high, like it's more than the double, that's what I mean. Storage, that's the price. Backup, kind of still, oh yeah, same like 10 cents by month for the backup. And you have like, if you go in general purposes, and like you have more SKU depending on like what you need in terms of core memory and things like that. One thing I would say is don't try to compare the exact same resource comparing like if you have it running locally or in the VMs or in the cloud. This is very, very different, and you should also treat that very different. Usually if I have a machine running, I want my server to run like very low. When you are in the cloud, you want that to run 80% all the time. Kind of, you're just like killing it. Scott and Simon did a talk where he talked a little bit about that, but didn't go in depth. But like if you want to like have someone else saying what I just said, I know Scott and Simon is very trust in the dev community, so go on his YouTube, and they're like one of his recent, he's talking about website. He has multiple websites and saying, look, like everything is running at 70%. It means I still have place to stack another website on that virtual machine. Because also when you're having a service plan, when you're deploying in a web app, service plan is really kind of a VM hidden from you. Not hidden, but like, you know, we manage it. So like you want to run your service very busy. So yeah, you pick, you run, you monitor what's happening, and then like you go lower, go higher depending on, like there's always a period of adjustment. But I totally get it. It is scary, but if you monitor your stuff, and you could, like in the portal, there's a place where you could say budget and set alerts. I did a YouTube video about that. In Hello World. No? Hello. Oh, I'm missing an S. Yeah, this one. Always scared to go over their budget and things like that. So there it is. Have a look to this, and will help you to set budget, and you will receive notification when you reach that limit. So this way you will feel a bit more comfortable. It is very simple to do, like it's an interface. You go in the portal and you say, you know what, send me an email or kill everything when I reach that limit. So there's pretty flexibility, a lot of flexibility over there. Cool. So I hope I went in many different directions. So I hope I kind of help you to feel a little bit more comfortable. Maybe try it and like dig deeper. If no, please reach out, ask more questions. I know the stream is getting close to the end, but reach out to me on social. I can always point you to more details, documentation, but I'm always happy to help someone, because it is frightening. It shouldn't, but it is, because we're all scared to like spend all our money on resources we don't really want. I just want to go back to my VS Code. So when we did deploy, the deployment, whatever we do it in from the Azure portal, from VS Code using the extension, or from like the Codespace using the extension in the container, or from VS Code using whatever, what happened is in that folder here, let's zoom, that folder here, .github, it created workflows. So interesting, like I don't know why I have two, but here that's the one we want. So it created a GitHub action. So let's have a look. So GitHub action are YAML file. So YAML is kind of like JSON, but instead of curly brackets, it's using tab. Or indentation, I should say. So now it says, hey, look the branch main, and when it's a pull request is open, synchronized, blah, blah, like you do what? You will be deploying. So that's the job it will be doing. So it will be in a container, Ubuntu latest, it will build and then deploy. The security, because hey, how can he connect to Azure? So here there's the static web app, and we see Azure secrets. And in GitHub, I want to go, let's open a new page here, repository, portfolio Frank. If I go in settings, I have secrets. I think it's, yeah. So I have secrets, repository secret, Azure Static Web App, API token, delightful ill. So that's right what was used here. So it created a token and save it there. So it won't show up in the CI/CD. This is extremely important. Best practices in DevOps is like, don't put any password in your file, or like, because it will end up in your repo. So GitHub, you have a secret place, not a secret place, but you have a place for your secrets. You put it there, and then in the file, in the CI/CD file, it will use that just using the $, double curly bracket, and the name of that thing. So I say, hey, connect to that and just upload. So it will create the asset. So we'll compile, take the code, generate the static web app in the folder www root, and then like you will be uploading that into Azure. And voila. And what's this? What subscription did you deploy it in? So F Boucher Perso.
Open in the portal. Can we cheat? Yeah, open. There it is. Oh, that's the subscription. Yeah, cool. I want to see the resources in it. It's a pay as you go, so I need to delete everything after. That's why I was worried. So Frank, okay, F Boucher Perso. That's my subscription. Okay. Source group. Oh, there it is. Cool. So I have this. So now I'm running. I can see my log. I can see many things. If I go in deployments here, I will see that it's using GitHub, maybe because I'm too much zoom. Refresh. Why don't I see it? I should see the so you can see your cost here, but we use like we are just deploying it, so I won't see anything, and like it's the free tier, but you will be able to manage a specific resource there. I'm wondering though why I don't see this. We should see stuff. So like nothing to display. We just deployed that and like it's a free tier. But here we should see something. Not sure why it was not showing up. Oh, because I'm in the resource group. Frank. So here you could put, yeah. Now I'm in the resource, the static web app. Sorry about that. I can go bigger also. Let's close this here. We'll go bigger. So now I have my configuration. If I need anything, I see the application. I can turn on App Insight to see like how everything is working. If I trace, I can put a custom domain. So I could use any custom domain I want. It could be coming from custom. I am thinking about like, you know, GoDaddy, whatever, or you could even buy and assign from your portal a new domain if you want. If you have an API, you could have it here. You could connect to a database. That's pretty cool. Users allow provide database. Oh, that's new. I didn't see that. I need to try that. That's pretty cool. You have different environment, and that's awesome because you could have deploy in a different branch and say, hey, deploy that. You share the resources, but then you could test before really deploying in prod. You could deploy in a kind of like a branch. So have different deployment slot, deploy there and see that. So don't do any load testing there because like it's sharing the resource, but before really you know, swapping or like going in prod, you could go there and it's using the same environment and everything. So kind of the last validation there. What I was trying to show earlier was the deployment. Where was? So role, identity. So identity you could create, but for that you need to be in the standard. Like I was saying, hosting plan, if you want to change and go standard. So see, it adjusts now. It's showing me because it knows I'm in Canada, or probably set it up. So I was saying it was $9, so it's 11.5 in Canadian dollar. And yeah, but is it environment or configuration? Where is the deployment stuff? So I see the source being on GitHub. I should see deployment. what I'm missing. Usually you can go there because when you create it, maybe because I created. Wow. I have some friends that work and like they try to avoid the portal because it changed. So sometimes you're thinking you know your stuff and things move around. So you look just like me where you're searching your stuff. I did that so many times. So not sure why I'm seeing it. I'm not seeing it here. Automation. No, there's no task. Export, get the script, so like an ARM template, or like I think now even the ARM template are there. Not ARM, the bicep. Bam, bam. Why don't I see? Yeah, that's not normal. Well, okay, and what I was saying about resource group is now I'm in my resource group, and if I want to delete all the resource, let's say I have a database and multiple stuff, I could just go here and say, yeah, please delete this because I don't want to pay for that. It was just a demo for the stream. I even have like a project that I created like back when I was traveling and doing tons of demo every day that run every, I think it was once a week, and send me a report or like even deleting everything that was expired. And by expired, I needed to put a tag to say like expired on date. And in fact, I was just like querying the resource, looking for that tag value, comparing for today. And if I was later, then just like, yep, delete. Or I could just flag it and like send an email. But in my case, I was doing so much, I was like, yeah, just delete it. So that will delete all the resource for like now, like there's only one, but I will get rid of it. And yeah, so now we have this. I don't know where we have the GitHub page thing because we're not using it. And so yeah, what's in that one? Interesting. We don't need that one. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I think I will do that. I will share that, but I need to remember. And after that, we'll play with Copilot a little bit to customize. I think that would be cool. Yep. But for now, we should rate. Any suggestion for rating someone? Who's streaming right now? I think last week we rated Ada, but Ada is streaming exactly at the same time as me, so, and he's still streaming. should I rate him and say, hey, I needed to pee, just like last week? Was it Ada? Yeah, Ada. Who's streaming? So I have here. Oh, that could be cool.